Symbiosis. It's a bit surreal. Thank you so much for making me a part of your history. I had missed the Symbiosis cutoff and I didn't get admission in Symbiosis. That's why it's very personal to me and I'm very emotional about it. I was so excited about coming to the campus that for the first time in my career or in my life, I left my luggage inside the airport and I came out. And thanks to the driver, he said, "Sir, where is your luggage?" I said, "Oh, I have one." And I went back. And trust me, when I went back to the airport and I was waiting for the luggage, I was like a child. I was behaving like a child. I was thinking like a kid. I went back to my graduation days when I was filling up the snap test forms and applying for CAT. Yeah? Okay, that's the emotional side of it. Let's talk about why am I here today. I really don't know why am I here, and I would really thank all the committee members and also the people who thought I should be here. Extremely grateful. A lot of people applied for this course, but only 250 or 280 odd people made it to this institute. You all should be grateful, because a lot of people did not come here. Yeah? The concept of this meet, which talks about talent and personality, it's very interesting. And you look at me, finally the talent meets this opportunity. Yeah? Also, if you look at plain Norman language, if you look at talent, I would probably just categorize it in 3 buckets. Number 1, people like you, the freshers who wants to make their entry into corporate. You are absolutely fresh out of the oven and we would like to bring you. The second one would be the people I work with on a day-to-day basis in my organization. Those are my current talent pools. The third one would be those who are experienced and they're outside already working, right? Also includes people who worked in my current company, they walked out and if at all they want to come back and show something would love to. This is the basic split. Has this remained the same? Has talent remained the same? The flow of talent remained the same? The answer is no. I come from an HR transformation background and with Reckitt, this is my 7th deployment when it comes to global HR transformation programs. I feel extremely lucky to have worked with some of the finest people in the industry, and also I still feel lucky that I'm able to talk about it. When it comes to transformation, we have gone way beyond the usual flow of talent. We are constantly creating capabilities through GCCs, right? I will not use too much of abbreviations. GCC is basically what? Global Capability Centers, right? If you look at the industry results, or I was looking at one of the research outcomes of Zenov, and it says India is going to be the hotspot. It's already the hotspot. It's going to explode now in a much more exponential form. And we are expecting more than 30,000 GCC roles in India alone. And think of the kind of competencies which will evolve. We talk about AI, we talk about automation, we talk about HR operations. But overall, the amalgamation which brings ourselves to a table is going to be different. Today, when I look at my role, it has changed completely in the last 3 years. I was predominantly working in transactional roles, trying to identify the scoping of services and create capability centers in India. But if I look at my current role today, it's an extension of the Center of Excellence. HR operations is no more all about dashboards, no more about metrics, no more about data. It's about leveraging and embedding AI into talent acquisition. It's about embedding AI in the way we represent Power BI. It's also going to talk about how we influence people to take up new courses. It is when the trajectory changes operations domain, the one thing which makes a lot of difference is skill competencies. What skills you have today is not going to be there tomorrow. I'm not trying to scare you. You can smile. It's going to be there, but it's going to evolve. And you need to be open to acceptance. If anybody asked me, what do you look at an individual when you take an interview, I will share you a secret. Okay? I look at attitude over talent. Okay? And I had this conversation with one of the recently held conferences in Bangalore, where I was asked, how do you define culture? I think culture starts the way we think. It doesn't start with the amount of budget you have for your branding exercises. To me, if we stop thinking and talking too much about the culture we have, that's the way we have a great culture. You don't have to sell your culture. When people come to India, they sell it too much. Foreigners, when they come to India, they love our culture because they experience the differences. They are who they are and they are able to be who they want to be. That's exactly what defines talent. If I am able to nurture their competences the right way, which we are doing nowadays in a autonomous way, that's exactly when we can merge it with the overall outcome. GCCs today, in a transformative way, have allowed us to explore these competences. Yeah? From a futuristic standpoint, if you see, the roles have merged and they've evolved over time. For example, let's talk about, give me an example. Can somebody ask me a question? Let's make it more interactive. Anybody who wants to ask a question about how talent sourcing has changed, or probably what exactly I am considering when it comes to nurturing talent? Yes, ma'am.
Company, like when we see a job description, the one line now which is coming up is, we need people who have a positive attitude, are creative and innovative. Okay? But the role which you are hiring is the same role which is going on. Be it a business consultant, or be it analytics, or be it a supply chain expert. So what is that as a talent acquisition or a person when you hire them for any level, be it a middle level or a top level? How do you define this line?
Thank you so much. This was actually part of my second point. Thank you so much for asking this question. There is an interesting point of pride and prejudice which I would like to talk about. The moment we become an MBA, we become very pompous. Hey, I'm an MBA from this institute, that institute. And I'll give an example. When I joined Future Group, which was retail, and I was placed through campus, there was this beautiful exercise which all of us were part of. Like, you heard of Big Billion Days, right? In Flipkart. So we also had something similar at that time in Future Group. As an MBA, do I really want to sit down on the floor and pack pulses for people who have come? A lot of people would not like it, let's be honest about it. But the fact is, on that day, that myth was broken. And MBA doesn't mean I cannot do this, I cannot do that, and I will start judging work which comes my way. So when it comes to creative and being informative, one thing which we cannot do is judge the kind of work which comes our way. You cannot. You don't have an option. Because at the end of the day, any simple task can be reassembled and can be reapproached and can be brought about in a simpler form, and that's what we call about efficiency. Today we are talking about Six Sigma and Kaizen. That's exactly what we do. The GCCs have seen that, the transformation opportunities which we had in the past. It's the same set of scoping which we can see, which somebody would probably work on a day-to-day basis. Correct? But what makes it a point for us to say, hey, we want to drive automation? We are looking at somebody who can bring in fresh ideas. Ideas don't, we don't have a warehouse of ideas. There will be limitations. But what we want is people to challenge the existing norms and continue to bring in new principles to look at problems here. And that's what defines the approach, or redefines the approach. I don't know if I've answered it correctly, but if anybody wants to challenge me, I am more than happy to take another shot at it. Okay. There was this beautiful conversation which I had again recently. I had the opportunity to meet a few industry leaders back in Bangalore. This is a different one, has got nothing to do with the previous one. And I was asked, what is your take on learning? And do you think we are investing enough in learning to upscale our people so that they can be part of the Symbiosis GCC environment? So that's a very tricky question. Because the moment that email comes in my inbox, you have a mandatory training to complete. These are your pending trainings. We just look at completing those and we move on. We really don't want to scale ourselves, but during the one-on-one, I would always ask my manager, what do you have for me? Am I putting enough? I think it's a both-way effort. Again, I'll go back to the topic, talent meets opportunity. Talent meets opportunity is such a thing that you own your career. At the same time, managers also have a responsibility to bring it down into 30, 60, 90, work on your areas which are absolute gaps and work on them and convert it into tangible projects which can be measured. That's number one. Number two, from a learning perspective, every organization has a budget, right? We all have budgets. Obviously, thanks to the economic situation right now in the world, we are cutting down a lot of budgets globally. But at the same time, nothing stops because this is one area where companies will never sacrifice. They would always like to see who is willing to take up a particular project. So instead of opportunity, where talent meets opportunity, your attitude, attributes, and leadership behavior over time should be so rock solid that talent doesn't have to meet opportunity, but opportunity comes to you. It has to be both ways. I mean, today, I've been regularly interacting with Spandan. Sorry, Spandan, for putting you in his spot. I'm so sorry about that. But I've been interacting with him regularly over the last 2 weeks, and he's been helping me as to how can I find the reach here. For example, Spandan always comes up with a behavior that, you know what, I'm up for it. I would like to be a part of this activity. You can consider me for this project, XYZ. He's always ready. So tomorrow, if there is a requirement internally, let's say I have a hiring freeze, let's say, I'm not quoting, I'm just saying, and I need somebody to be actively involved in a particular project, what do? I can say, I know this guy, his name is Spandan, he's absolutely amazing. He's always up for projects. Why don't you give it a shot? And it has happened. This has happened so many times. Today, the amount of time we have for TA, close positions, is so less. I can't blame TA at all. Especially in an industry which is growing at a humongous rate. Attrition is also getting the feeling. So how do I help TA by not unnecessarily pressurizing that I need to close this position ASAP? Instead of that, how about nurturing your internal in-house talent so much by cross-pollinating them in projects, allowing them to move across different departments on short-term basis, get rated by the new incoming manager, and also disrupting the mentoring circle that way. And that's how you complement the availability of that. The third point, as to if you're investing enough, I think there are enough courses out there in the industry. Don't just go and randomly pick a course and do it. And even if you're doing, make sure you pick up a project and implement it. Because at the end of the day, when ma'am asked me this question, you need to be creative. That's exactly what we look at. If anybody tells me in an interview that I was a part of this project, I specifically ask this person, what was your role? What did you do? I understand it was a team, but what did you do? What difference did you make? Do you have a story? I don't know how many of you have seen this movie, 21. Has anybody seen? Can you raise your hands? Jim Stugas, Kevin Spacey, lovely movie. That movie starts with this story that the dean asks Jim Stugas, do you have a story? You all should have a story. I have a wonderful story. But do you have it? I think your story is going to make a difference. And that should become the reason to strive on a day-to-day basis. The other thing which I would really like to talk about is not always talent means opportunity. And not always opportunity comes to talent. Sometimes you have to be so innovative that you simplify processes which you're working on. For example, let's talk about learning management system only. Because it's one of my favorite topics. When you look at any organization, be it Accenture, be it Capgemini, or any of the organizations I work with, learning management system is pretty much quite mundane. It's quite, you don't have too much of innovation there. The only way you can bring innovation is by giving value proposition back to the business. Now, how do you do that? You understand from your metrics, that's where SLOps comes, Power BI comes. Understand course usage, look at no-shows, and then propose back to the business. You know what, these are the top 3 courses which is great in your company and everybody wants to do it again and again and we're getting a lot of requests. And these are the bottom 3 courses you need to complete these 5. It's not going to give you anything in return. That's the value proposition which I'm trying in the form of dollars. Everybody loves money. Trust me. You give back to the business savings, you are their favorite gym guy. And that should be the case. You should not just come to your office and just focus on your work session, doing the regular jobs which you do. That will always be there. But what makes a difference and what we look at is innovation starts with the way we think. Do we really want to make a difference the way I think? I see a lot of people asking me, Sid, you know what, I think I'm just 8 minutes left. A lot of people ask me, and in fact, between January 2022 to April 2023, there are almost like 30 people reached out to me. Some of them I worked with in the past, some of them I have not even worked with, maybe I mentored. And they asked me, you know what, I performed so well, and somewhere I don't get the credit. And I think yesterday there was an interaction with some of you asked me the same thing, that what do we do in these kinds of situations? My credit gets stolen. Your credit gets stolen when you allow it. You cannot allow it. All of us, we want to grow. Especially ever since the pandemic, the whole growth trajectory has changed. We connect virtually. We started understanding the human element we all have. We started feeling deep with each other, right? Like, we find this person's going through a burnout, needs more time off. All these things we never experienced before. These are all the new areas where we wanted to see, try and test. Are we really understanding enough? It's never an apple-to-apple comparison. All of you sitting out there, over there, up there, please do not compete with the person sitting next to you. That will be the biggest blunder you will make in corporate and also when you are studying. All of you come with distinct competencies. Identify your competency, make that a USP and start focusing on that. You should only compete with yourself. 2 things will happen if you do that. Number 1, everybody around you would love you. Nobody is competing with you because you're not competing with anyone. Everybody knows that. Number 2, you will have a fantastic relationship. So there was this program which I had the opportunity to try and test back in Walmart. And I literally asked people that, there was a sample of 10 individuals I handpicked. I said, I'm doing a project, would you like to be a part of it? They said, absolutely. They said, what is it all about? I said, it's about your growth. Immediately 10 more people raised their hands and I would like to be part of it. Everybody loves growth. Who doesn't love growth? And thanks to real estate prices, everybody likes to see fact checks. So what I said was, all of you, identify one individual around you want to become. For me, it was Harvey Specter. I took a lot of understanding lessons learned from Suits, and thank you for putting that. For a lot of people, it was their immediate manager. For some, it was a manager in a different team. Again, for some, it was a manager in the previous organization. So the deal was, you should just have access to this individual, and you should constantly understand what kind of opportunities this person got. And note it down. It's a very, very brutal exercise because you have to be honest with yourself. You also have to note down what are your positive strengths, right? Strengths is positive, sorry about that. And what are your weaknesses? You also need to jot down what are the strengths of the mentor you're looking up to, and what are the weaknesses of this individual you want to become. Every 3 months, take one note from the strengths which you don't have but your mentor has, and one weakness which you have, your mentor doesn't have. Pick it up. Take it to your one-on-one with your manager and say, this is the strength I want to develop. This is the weakness I want to get rid of. Help me out. Convert that into a 30, 60, 90 program. By the end of the year, maybe you will overcome 2 weaknesses, you will gain 2 strengths. Very short, you can have 4 new strengths, then you overcome 4 weaknesses. This program was a success for us. Out of those 16 people who participated, 6 of them got promoted across different levels. None of them reported to me. And that's the best part. And I was able to sell this concept to the management. And they implemented this for 350 people. And that became the PDP for that year. So the thing is, again I'll go back to what my master, because that somehow is the most very good question. How do you be absolutely solid? Please do good. When you do good, it comes back. Don't compromise on your principles. Your principles will always keep you apart. You can always try to be a master of everything, but you should definitely be a specialist of one specific thing. For example, Spandan, again, putting you on the spot. He might be great at networking, or he might be the lead of a social media magnet. You don't know. Right? Emmanuel has got excellent comp skills. I'm only taking names and interactive, don't take personalities. Emmanuel has got excellent comp skills. Maybe he'll become a communications head for Pfizer. You don't know. So identify your USP which you can nurture and take it forward. After 2.5 minutes left, I think I've spoken a lot. I will probably open it to everybody who can ask me questions. Thank you so much for hearing me.
For the wonderful session. So with respect to the first part of your speech, that you said you actually consider attitude more as compared to the skill, right? If I have to take skill into the picture now, I would like to ask you what kind of hiring framework that Reckitt maybe prioritizes, and what kind of skill requirements that is needed, that is being brought forward by Reckitt in its hiring framework that is needed from the students, and maybe some example on how Reckitt was able to achieve it by doing that kind of hiring.
Thank you. So we have got 2 segments. Number one, obviously the basic skill sets for which you're applying for a specific job, be it marketing, or be it HR operations, or be it you can say transformation strategy. We will definitely look at those specific skills if you have, right? The second thing we look at is the leadership behavior part. Now, we always try to invest in people whom we are sure they will eventually become leaders. Yeah? So, in Reckitt today, if I am promoting somebody in-house, please sit down. If I am promoting somebody in-house, I also look at, is this person able to go to the next level again? Or is this the final promotion this person is getting? So my investment has to be way ahead of what this person is actually getting in return. So leadership behavior is a very crucial, I would say 50-50% split. Obviously any organization you go, they will also try to see if you match with their value systems, right? We are so proud of our value systems, and we should be. That's exactly what makes us. So we also try to constantly check by asking questions and understand your side. What are your thoughts about these values or things like that? But that again becomes part of the leadership part. But in the skills part, it's very specific to the exact, you can say, job requisition of the job role. No problem.
So this was great listening to you. You talked to and it was coming from your heart and it was great. So I was actually remembering one of my class yesterday itself where we were talking about Zappos. You know about Zappos? This was one of the almost first in the world online shoe company, which now is taken over. So this company, we were discussing about culture, and this, and we were going through, how the company, what the company looks for in the company, in the person they're trying to recruit. One thing at the top of the list was weirdness. So when people were applying and in their application, they were looking out for that weirdness. And if the more weird, their application was, these were the people who were actually called at least for an interview. So how do you do this? And one thing that I've noticed is that the owner or the founder of the company, he was so sure of where he wants his company to be. And this is one thing that he was clear right from the beginning. That I want weird people who are thinking totally out of the box. How do you take this? Is it restricted to some kind of category, some kind of companies where there is they're more service oriented? How do you take it?
Okay, thank you so much. It's a very different question. Interesting because I've been a content creator for the last 10 years, apart from what I do, my regular job. And there's one thing which stood out in terms of content creation, which I've seen over the time, is definitely weirdness. You need to really be crazy to think that this can work. I was talking to Vivek and some of my new friends yesterday, and I was referring to one of the mad about marketing posts on social media where they showed Djokovic trying to serve, and then his arm looked like a swoosh. It was the latest brand by Nike. No normal person can think like that. You need to really be crazy somewhere to think. For example, you can call me crazy too. I mean, I understand. I will use the word maverick rather than being weird. You need to be a risk taker. The people who have taken risks at a whole new level, they have created some of the finest products, right? I mean, they have taken big bets in creating those. I really don't want to start a Steve Jobs conversation here. Everybody knows the story. But then I think weirdness is important to a certain level, but I really don't know what level or degree of weirdness he was looking forward to. But I also look forward to people who are not just by the book. When I spoke about attitude, you cannot coach certain people after a point in time in life. After they reach a certain age, it's difficult to coach. But you can still bet on improving them. But if the attitude is bad, you can never improve. You can say, you don't know what's going on in my mind. I myself did not know what's going on in my mind in the next 5 minutes, I don't know. So I think skills can be developed and people can be coached. And they can be transformed. And I have so many examples in my life which I have seen myself get transformed into amazing people managers. Some of the finest Fortune 500. Because they have the right attitude. So I think weirdness is good, man. A little bit of weirdness we all have, we just don't share it. Everybody is a little weird in their own ways, and that's also the unique capabilities we bring in. It's the best thing to talk about is how well we know about ourselves, because I think it's very important for all of us, before you pick up a job or before you have a goal in life, you should exactly know what you want. Obviously, it will take time, it's an evolving thing, I myself don't know what I'll be 5 years down the line, but I think weirdness is important. I think it's okay. Thank you. Anything else? I thought there would be more questions. Are you guys, did you guys expect a slide? I did not prepare a slide because I really want to make it free flowing. Because I'm sure some of the greatest sitting here, they would love to also share their thoughts. But I just wanted to make sure that we give the real life experiences which I had in the past. And just wanted to check with the timer. It says 3.5 minutes from 2.5 now. Does it mean I put 3.5 minutes more? It's over. Q&A? Done? Sorry? I still have time. Okay. Okay, I still have time. So you still have questions you can ask. Yeah, man.
So, assume that if someone has a good set of skills that
to you.
If someone has a good set of skills when it comes to social skills, let's say, and they're also equally interested in the functional aspect, maybe technical skills, should they go after career opportunity that leverages their social skills or something that they're really good at, or try and find opportunities in the technical domain where they can leverage these skills apart from technical? So how should one decide where they focus their attention on, or build a USP?
I think that's curious to look at it. Number one, you get served what you want, and you're lucky enough to get a role like that, and you go with the flow, and you realize it's exactly what I wanted, and I got it. The second one would be the hidden child methodology. Like I said, there will be a lot of turbulence when you enter corporate. Whatever you are expecting might not come your way exactly the way you want. So you cannot be a judge of the job or the work or the activity which comes your way. So you pick it up accordingly. You accept whatever comes your way. Give it a shot. Give your best shot. So that you know if I have tried, I can't do more than this. And then you explore. Maybe I can give you an example. In my job description back in Walmart, I quote a lot about Walmart because I really got a lot of opportunities there. And I can share this example. I tried a lot of things about talent in Walmart. I launched a OTT platform. I started a newsletter which became a magazine, full-blown magazine, and also a podcast. Reason, you also need that ecosystem which supports what you want to do. It's very important, and you have to be vocal. Now, one thing I've seen a lot of people are shy, thinking, what will people think? If I go and talk. I don't think so. We have a choice here. The competition is so massive. You don't even know what your peer or your friend next to you is already doing and not even sharing with you. So the best way to make sure that you are able to understand your capacity, capability versus your dreams, try and test. Talk to people. Make sure you have a mentor. I think having a mentor is extremely critical, but don't rush towards it. Observe the leaders around you good enough. Take your own time to understand this is the USP of this mentor, does it align with my thoughts? Not necessarily they would be able to give you exactly what you want to develop. But you should definitely have a mentor because they will constantly guide you to stop you from falling on your face. I am extremely blessed to have some of the finest mentors in my career, and I have a lot to learn, including my teachers. So your mentorship starts from your college, from your teachers was so wonderful, and they making me part of history. I feel even better. I think I'm on top of the hour. Thank you so much for listening to me. It's been lovely here. I would really feel this for a long time.